Okay, hey, welcome everybody to our BSPU call. I'm going to be spending the next few minutes talking to you about 19 different marketing channels that you can use to sell your books, but more importantly, to use your books to sell your coaching programs, consulting programs, service-based businesses, etc. And what I want to do with the 19 channels, because that's a lot of shiny objects to chase, what I want to do with those 19 channels is I want to give you a little bit of a framework to decide which of those 19 channels to go after, and then talk a little bit about how to use your books within those 19 channels to get more clients. We are towards the end of the year, and that means that you should have great marketing plans in place for the beginning of the year, quarter one, etc. Maybe this, if you haven't done that, maybe this will help you with your marketing plans. Okay, so we're going to go to the whiteboard here. On my whiteboard, you guys know that. And then I'm going to move my camera as well. And I'm going to give you the 19 channels and hopefully share some wisdom along the way for you also. As always, feel free to ask any questions in the chat, and I'll do my best along the way to answer those questions. And if not, then I'll do my best to answer those all at the end as well. Okay, so 19 marketing channels. And as I said, that's a lot of shiny objects. So I'm going to also give you a framework to parse that down a little bit and make it more usable. Okay, so I'm gonna go through each of these pretty quickly. Most of them are self-explanatory, but there may be a channel or two in there that I want to add a little bit of dialogue to and talk specifically about how you can use that along with your book. Okay, so number one, and I'm not going to number all of these. I'm just going to write them out, and I've counted them a couple of times, so I'm pretty sure they add up to 19. All right, so number one, one of my favorites, which is social ads. And by the way, this 19 could very easily turn into 4 or 5 times that number, because when I say social ads, that of course could mean Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, obviously TikTok, LinkedIn, etc. So I use this pretty regularly. As you know, that's how most of you probably found me. Social ads, I run book funnels, I run challenge funnels, I run workshop and webinar funnels, and I most certainly run just application funnels. So social ads. Offline ads, I do some of this. I used to do a lot more of it in the past. Prior to Facebook being the big channel that it is, most of my marketing and advertising for my previous business was newspaper ads, believe it or not. And that wasn't that long ago, a little bit frightening, but probably 12 to 15 years ago. So offline ads. I am looking at running a new ad in a newspaper, believe it or not. It's a very, very specific financial paper, and I've seen a number of book funnels that have run in this financial paper, and it has my ideal clients in it. So offline ads. Next is direct sales. Direct sales. And direct sales could mean a number of things, but I specifically mean like outbound marketing. So that would be like cold calling, or like using LinkedIn and going outbound on LinkedIn, something that we have done very successfully. We don't do a lot of cold calling, although in a previous life I did. That's part of why I decided to learn to be a great marketer, because I got sick and tired of picking up the phone and making 100 dials a day. But direct sales, and specifically outbound sales, is a fantastic way. Email marketing. If you're not building an email list, and if you're not emailing that list on a regular basis, you're making a huge mistake. It is one of the best and least expensive ways to sell your books, your courses, your coaching, get people on the telephone, etc. So obviously email marketing needs to be a part of your plan, building a list and then marketing to that list. Search engine marketing. This is something that Eddie does within his company. This is something that we're doing more. And specifically, I mean, when I say search engine marketing, I mean using the search engines to market, like Google. Along with that is search engine optimization. We've been spending more money in the last 6 months on SEO than we had probably ever in our existence, because we found such a great quality of customer is coming to us through blogs that we're writing, podcasts that I'm doing, that sort of thing. So search engine marketing, a really, really great way to attract your ideal client. Guesting. This is something that we talk about quite a bit, because that could be something like blog guesting or podcast guesting. Obviously, that's something that we focus on a good deal with our PR team, getting our clients that are in our PR program, getting them booked for podcast, et cetera, even TV, radio, that kind of thing. Although I'm going to save that for PR, which is going to be a channel as well. Next, and that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So next is referral marketing. Referral marketing, something that we talk quite a bit about, because referral marketing is something all of us should be doing with our books. And I've given you a number of different ways to use your books to attract referrals. This is a little bit unusual, but engineering. What does that mean? Well, I mean like building tools like a SaaS, for example, software as a service, that would build a following and a list and get people into the first step of working with you. This is something that you're going to see me launch hopefully the first quarter of next year. We've been working on a SaaS, a software for book writing, that just recently we've added the component of artificial intelligence, which of course is all the rage these days, but we've added AI and editing within this tool. My hope is that it will create a great recurring revenue for my business, but even more than that, that it will create a great following and number of people that want us to maybe use the tool to help them to actually write their book. So that could be a number of different types of ramps that they could come into. But engineering, some of these you may, by the way, look at just like, oh, that's ridiculous, so I'm not going to do that. Totally fine. It's just a channel, right? You don't have to use every single channel. Next, trade shows. I think this is something that I've heard Eddie uses from time to time. I have a number of clients. One of the examples that I share about speaking, where I had a client that did over $700,000 in new client business, came from a trade show that he got an opportunity to speak at because of his best-selling book. So trade shows, that might be something where you're paying to get a booth, or something where you're actually speaking in front of. Next, and this is a little bit different, but offline events. And I'll tell you what I mean by that in just a second. Offline events might be something like joining a mastermind. I'm in 3 different masterminds, which is too many, by the way, but I'm in 3 different masterminds, and they really all pay for themselves, because I always get clients from these masterminds. They're full of people that need my services and want to work with me. And so I've been a part of Russell Brunson's mastermind and pay $50,000 a year to be a part of it. I don't know that I've ever had a single year where I didn't make 2 or 3 times that back from the mastermind itself. Now, that's not why I'm in that mastermind. I'm in that mastermind because I'm looking at learning and wanting to develop new aspects of my business, but it's kind of nice that it pays for itself. So that's an offline event. I always go to Boise. You hear me complain about going to Boise. Why do I go there? I go there because I have clients there and I'm learning at the same time. So offline events, joining masterminds. Yeah, it's a big check to write and you have to have a little bit of faith to do it, but it's a channel, and it's an excellent channel. I know some people that their entire business revolves around going from mastermind to mastermind and serving people in those masterminds. They have one channel. Next is a little different, speaking engagements. So that could be at a trade show, but speaking engagements at conferences, associations, that type of thing. This is a fantastic channel, especially if you're a good speaker, you have a great message. You can use your book powerfully to get on the speaking circuit and get into the right events. So speaking engagements, a fantastic channel to use to build your business. Next is community building. Community building. That can take several different directions, but I would say building a community around a topic or a cause. That could be something like building a Facebook group specifically around a topic or a cause. If you have a nonprofit, that is a fantastic way. Building a community, people that all think and believe the same way. A little bit of you become the hero in the hero's journey in building that online or offline community. Next, and this is something that I've used at various times, but not on a regular basis, and that's affiliates. If you have a great program, there are people that don't want to deal with any of the back end of a course or coaching or consulting or a service-based business, but they're really good at telling somebody else's story, running paid advertising and traffic, and they're always looking for affiliates. They're looking for somebody that they can kind of plug into and sell your stuff. Now, you might have to kiss a lot of frogs before you find the right prince or princess in affiliate marketing, and that's what I found. So, understand that every one of the channels that we're going to be speaking about is going to have its warts, right? So that is 7 more. Let's do an 8th right here. Similarly, strategic partnerships. Strategic partnerships. I was speaking to Michael Port yesterday. Michael Port is a New York Times bestseller. He founded, what's the coaching business that he founded? Book Yourself Solid. And he separated himself from that, put a president in charge of it and went all in building heroic public speaking. And I was speaking to Michael yesterday about his business. And he told me he doesn't run any paid advertising or work at all with many of these channels. In fact, any of these channels that I'm sharing with you, his one channel is basically strategic partnerships. And we're one of his strategic partners. He offers a part of his course to his strategic partners that are already working with his ideal clients. And when we send people over, which is a value to our people to learn from Michael and Amy Port how to be a better speaker, which is not something that we sell or teach or train ourselves, they get that for free. But guess what? Many of them want more. They want to go into a paid program with Michael and Amy, and they bring on over 500 clients, high ticket clients a year, all through strategic partnerships. Fantastic. Next, unconventional PR. Unconventional PR. What would that look like? Well, think Richard Branson, right? Think, the crazy stuff that he has done to get his name in front of tens of millions, hundreds of millions of people. There are plenty of people on the internet that, will wear a certain hat or will dress a certain way, or will have, a certain process that they always put forth. That's very, very unconventional. They're doing that to attract attention and specifically PR, whether it's on a media channel, a big media channel, or a small media channel. So that may be not something that I've ever been very interested in. I don't want to wear a funny hat. I don't want to act all goofy. I don't want to, be an Andrew Tate, if you know who that is, where, you make outrageous, say outrageous stuff. I'm not going to get into the fight game, like Jake Paul or right. So it's like, but that works beautifully for them. Think Mr. Beast and others where they do this unconventional and outrageous type PR and build a massive, massive channel that way. It works. Content marketing. So think content marketing, which could be a number of different things. It could be having your own podcast, having your own YouTube channel, writing a weekly blog post, etc. I shared with you a little bit about the SEO that we're doing, the search engine optimization. Part of that, not all of it, part of that is content marketing. And it is different than SEO because SEO is also link building, and Eddie can tell you more about that than I can, but there's SEO that has nothing to do with content. And then there's making sure that your content is SEO optimized. So writing content, blog post, speaking content, creating videos, that sort of thing. A great channel to consistently market. Next, existing platforms. And existing platforms would be any type of social media or online platform. It could be you creating content in LinkedIn and posting your content in LinkedIn. Instead of content marketing on your website, now you're content marketing on Facebook. You have a Facebook channel and you're doing your content marketing in an existing platform. And then I think this is last. Somebody count that up, but regular PR, and that would be things like TV, radio, etc. And of course, podcasts and all that sort of thing. I think that adds up. Boy, I hope it does. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. I delivered 19 channels. And you can have a multiplier effect, because many of these things, like social ads, are social ads on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, and the like. Okay, so there's a multiplier effect with many of these different things. Okay, so I've shared the 19 channels, and there are more, right? You know there are more. This is just a bit of a mind expanding opportunity, right? To think in terms of, wow, what are all the different channels that we can use to get our message out there, to sell our books, to sell our courses, our coaching, our service-based businesses, our consulting, etc. When you realize that there are so many channels and that there's a multiplier effect, it does one of two things. Number one, it frees you up from feeling like I just don't know what to do or where to go, right? Because it gives you all these different options. But the negative to that is it may cause you to freeze, because you're like, well, how do I choose? Where do I go? Look at all these shiny objects that I can chase. And obviously that's not, neither is a effective way for you to think of these 19 channels and make them useful in your business. So what do we want to do? We want some type of process to take these 19 channels and parse them down so that they're usable, and then think in terms of what are the best ways to use them. Okay, so I want to take a few minutes and I want to do that with you as well. And I'll give you this list. Don't worry. I'll post it in the Facebook group so that you guys have it and can go back to it. You're not going to want to think in terms of using all 19 of these channels or 60 of these channels, however many there are, once they've been multiplied out across all the different social networks, etc. You're not certainly going to want to think about doing that right out of the gate. So what do you want to do? How do you want to handle it? Well, you want to think of it a little bit like you would think of a target with a bullseye. Okay, so you have your 19 channels on the outer rim of the target. These are all the different opportunities that you have to choose from, that you could sell books, services, coaching, etc. What you want to do is you want to hone that down, and you really want to pick 6. You want to pick 6 out of these 19 channels to start with. And you may say, well, there are some that I use, there's some that I'm interested in using. Fantastic. Pick 6. And ideally, you're going to want to pick 6. And the bullseye is, of those 6 you pick, you want to ask yourself a question: which of these do I already understand and know? So which do I not need to learn? Okay. So one of them, as I mentioned, was, say, engineering, creating a SaaS. More than likely, that's not going to be, top of your list, because there's lots of moving parts in creating a SaaS. Perhaps you say, well, I'd really like to build a community, but I don't know anything about building a community. I don't understand how that works on Facebook. I don't really understand how it would work with the particular advertising that it would take, et cetera, et cetera. Great. So you're going to start with picking 6 and ideally hone that down to 1 to 3 that you already say, well, I don't need to learn that. I'm either already doing it or I know how it's done and I would like to add that into my repertoire. Okay. So let's go back for a second and let's look at the 19 and let's take some examples of what that would look like. Here we go. We want to get traction on something. And so initially we might say, okay, well, I want to pick 6 of them. And some of these might be ones that you're already doing. And hopefully that's the case, or maybe you've done them before. And so you say to yourself, okay, well, I need to create content. I'm a writer. I'm a content creator. I like doing video. I like doing audio. That seems to feel right to me. Fantastic. So you're gonna throw in that. You say, well, I'm an author and I've wanted to speak. And so speaking is something that is kind of key for me. I want to do it. Obviously, I know how to talk, but maybe I don't have a message, or maybe I have a message, but it needs to be honed a little bit. So it's one I want to add in. Fantastic. You say, okay, referral marketing. I get referrals in my business, but I don't really have a plan. You know how that works, but you don't really have a plan. You're not doing it on a regular basis. Great. All right. So we got 3 down. Well, what else would we do? Okay, well, I want to get something going more quickly. Say, well, I think direct sales could help me to get things going a little bit more quickly. So you're going to make some determinations and judgments on your 19 channels and honing it down to the 6 based on what you feel like your business needs are right now. Okay. So you say, oh, well, direct sales, I want to get things going. You say, okay, I know I have to build a list. So email, that's going to be really important to me. And I'm not doing that on a regular basis right now. Fantastic. You say also, with my book, it seems like regular PR and maybe some PR based on a regular type of guesting, writing blog posts, etc. All right. So you have your 7. I just chose 7, didn't I? Doggone it. I can't even keep it down to 6. So let's take off this guesting one and let's just stick with what we have so far there, which includes the media, the PR, etc. I'll rewrite that a little bit so we can see. Guesting includes podcast. Good. Okay. So we have 6. We have direct sales. We have email. We have referral marketing. We have speaking engagements, content marketing. Now, look, I chose them really fast. You may want to take a couple of days to really think about it. But here's the way that I want you to think about it. I want you to think about it based on what the needs are in your business right now. Okay. And where you want your business to go in the future. Okay. So right now, might solve things like the referral marketing question, right? You might say, well, I know I'd get referrals out of my business right now if I was doing a little bit better job with that channel. Awesome. And you know what? I would like to do something that's a little bit more direct outreach that solves like now money. That will get me some clients going right now where I'm doing the outreach and I'm building the relationships. On the other hand, you might say to yourself, okay, I want something that's more in the future. I want to build something that's also in the future for me. And so that might be, speaking engagements. I really want to speak. I want to develop a plan to be speaking on a long-term basis. That's not going to be overnight. It's not going to happen overnight. You say, I clearly want to have a list. So that's more future-based rather than now-based. And you say, well, the content marketing piece, because I'm already creating content, I know I just need to create the content in a way that is systematic, where it's not just haphazard, but I'm doing it systematically. And of course, PR, I'm going to call that future as well. But, obviously if someone like BSP helps you, then we can help you get on it right away. But to build a channel where you're doing it regularly is going to take having some pieces in place, and that's more a future thing. Okay, awesome. So now we have both our now stuff that can help our business right now, and we have our future stuff. So the next question that you want to ask yourself is, you want to ask yourself, well, which of these things do I already know how to do that maybe I'm not doing, but there's no significant technology involved. There's no like massive learning curve involved. Which of these things do I already know how to do? That is your bullseye. That's where you start. You say, okay, I know how to get referrals. All I need is a little bit of language. I need to start, that's something that I need to like start right away. And now I'm going to want to add my book, and we can talk about that for a minute, but I talk about this regularly. But now I'm going to add my book and create something systematically within this channel. You say, okay, well, what else do I know how to do, but I'm really not doing it? Well, I know how to create content. I mean, I know how to write blog posts, and, I probably need to learn the SEO facet of that. But, honestly, I mean, you can read 2 or 3 articles and learn. I mean, you won't learn all the ins and outs. You don't need to worry about that, but you can read 2 or 3 articles and learn how to, create a title that is optimized for content on your website. Like you can get 75% of the basics down by just reading a few articles, watching a few YouTube videos, and now you just add your writing, systematic writing into that process. Say, okay, I know what I need to do. I'm going to do the content marketing. And then we choose one more. If I'm going to do content marketing, then I also want to have, I want to build a list. I want the content marketing to come back and to join my email list so that I have somebody to market to. What this does is it allows you to take these 19 channels that I've shared with you and then parse them down to 6 that will be your longer term plan. And when I say longer term, maybe it's 3 to 6 months. That's not a big deal, but parse them down to, this is the longer term 4 or 3, because you're going to pick 6 of them. And then this is the ones that I want to take action on right away. I'm going to use the book to do A, B, and C immediately. And then you add your book to that. Now, if you have questions on how to add your book to that, that's the very thing I talk about every single week. But as an example, I share on a regular basis that every single one of us should give 2 books to all of our current clients and past clients when our books are done. And so that's 1 book for them just to reinvigorate the relationship. And that's 1 book that they can give away. And then a nice little letter that says, hey, it's been a while since we've spoken. If they're a past client, I wrote a best-selling book. I thought about you, and I wanted to get you 2 copies of it. One is for you, and if you can think of anybody else that would be helpful, that this book would be helpful for, then please pass it on. It's that simple. And it only will cost you $6 to send somebody 2 books. If you have 100 past clients, that's $600. It's the best $600 that you'll ever spend. Then what do you do? Well, I mean, I remember I did the whole training with Pamela Moss about how she made $60,000 in her first 60 days, basically with referral marketing. One was to her past clients, one was to her current clients, and then one use was setting up affiliate strategic partner relationships. She is an estate planning attorney, and she set up strategic partnerships with realtors and with accountants and financial advisors. And all she said to them is, hey, anybody that's interested, that's finished your program and that's interested, here's a free book. If they want to learn a little bit more about protecting their kids and having an estate plan, now that you've begun helping them with their financial services, or now that they purchased a house, right? So referral marketing also includes the idea of setting up these strategic partnerships that can refer you clients, right? So every one of these things will have 2 or 3 items within them that you will be able to add your book to that will supercharge the process, right? I've shared a number of different times how we use LinkedIn with direct sales, for example. I've shared even scripting, which you can find, I have a LinkedIn training in there where the scripting is simple outbound messaging, and the outbound messaging begins a conversation, warms up a conversation, and then it's, hey, would you like a copy of my Wall Street Journal bestseller published for no profit? Specifically, I'd suggest you look at chapter 4 and chapter 5, because that's kind of where you're at right now. I'll send it to you. Here's a link. It's free. You don't have to pay for it. Let me know what you think of it, and then follow up. That just supercharges the relationship, and now it frames you as the bestseller in the best and appropriate way. So there's all kinds of things that you should be doing with this, but the biggest challenge I think we have is we can do a million different things, and until we hone it down to the 2 or 3 channels that we're going to work, then it's hard to think about what I can do with my book. Hone it down to the 2 or 3 channels, from these 19 down to 6, down to 2 or 3. I've just shared the process of how to do that. And then you can think, how can I use my book in this channel? And obviously, if you have a question or you want me to teach on a specific channel, I will gladly do that. I have taught every one of these 6 channels that I've shared. I've taught something in the BSP membership area on how to use your book to attract that very thing. So there you go. 30 tight minutes on 19 different channels, honed down to 6, honed down to 2 or 3, and then how to think about using it right now and then building for the future.